studio. I did the first weekend of open studios.
All
I guess
right.
there was that.
Oh, how'd that
Let's
went?
hear about
Yeah.
it.
Well, so Friday night is the preview party. Every artist, there's like 106 artists, and everyone gets to put a piece in at this venue at the women's club. And so that it was packed. It was very, very busy. And I just sort of, mix with people and have my card with me. And so, there's only 7 jewelers. Mostly it's 2D. So, it's easy to kind of stand out in that. And there's 2 weekends for the event. So the preview exhibition is only the first weekend. So next weekend, there's no preview except online. And so I'm hoping I see more people next weekend. It was okay. So the second day I saw like 3 people, and 2 of them were friends, but I made a sale to the stranger. So, my rate was very high and so it's okay. I've met good people on the first day, made sales, but also some good new connections. It's always important to meet strangers. So, I'll see. I mean, I'll see. The other thing is we've had very prolonged, beautiful weather, and it's finally changed. So, it'll probably be a little cooler out, and and I have no idea. And then it's always, well, should I send another email out? And I decided last Friday I sent an email out, and some people responded, I'll see you. And I decided to send another one out for this weekend. I figure people could ignore the email, or, if people choose to not follow me, but I know everyone's so busy in their lives that they're going to forget. And I just want to remind them. So, I don't want to be a pain in the neck, but I get emails from businesses all the time. And if I don't feel like looking at them, I'll just put them aside for the time being. And it's kind of a guessing game, but if you don't let people know what you're doing, then you really, I mean, you're just kind of depending on people remembering. So, I'm not sure what the right thing to do is, but I try different things all the time. So anyway, but Open Studios is a very easy event. It's not juried. Anyone can do it. You have to just be within like 12 miles of the Palace of the Governors, which is like the downtown Santa Fe Plaza area. And so it's a lot of artists to see, and you can't go to all of them. And but overall, I'm a big fan of Open Studios, even in very much for the long game. So people I've met in previous years have come to my studio at different times. So that's, I sort of, when I'm here and open and it's pretty quiet, I'm just doing work that I could be interrupted from and just try my best to keep a good attitude, because it's not like an art fair where there's just tons of people. On the other hand, it's people are coming here. They're not just walking by. It's a destination. So
Do you offer food and drink?
I have homemade chocolate chip cookies and water.
How do you send
And I have to say, what?
I was going to ask how do you send out your emails?
I send them through my Squarespace. I used to have MailChimp, and I always said when MailChimp is no longer free because I have too many people, I'm going to explore what else is out there. And so I really like Square because it's easier to pick. Like, I have different groups, so people from the Midwest or whatever, and generally I'll send an email out to my entire list across the country, because you never know who's going to come in. But the emails now that I'm sending right close up to the show, I'm only sending to my main list, which includes people who live here. So, but yeah, it's through MailChimp.
Square the card reader, right?
No, I'm sorry, it's Squarespace, like the website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have a whole thing for email campaigns.
So you have that email list, you own it, right?
Well, when you say, I mean, it's my personal email list.
No, I understand, but if
Yeah.
you're using Square, the
Hmm.
card reader, you don't
No,
own your
it's
email list. They own it.
really?
Yes,
Wow.
you don't have access to it. You can just see the customers' names, not their email addresses.
Oh, so this is an email list built up from when I had a website that was like, I don't know, done by HTML code. I mean,
Yeah.
so right. And so then I went to MailChimp. Um, and then I imported everything into, so yeah, this is Squarespace. So you're saying Square Up, you don't own your mail list.
Yeah, that's credit card reader. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Wow. I
they keep your customer list. You
didn't know that. I could
only
never
have
do that
access
then.
to their names, not their email addresses.
Oh, I
Unless
could
For
never do that.
safety reasons.
right, but
Yeah, but I
what if you want to do a
personally,
promotion that doesn't involve them?
right. But also, I don't know, let's say I have a customer I showed her a pair of earrings I'm working on, and she said, when they're done, let me know. I'm very interested. So I will email her personally. I'm not going to send an email campaign. I mean, I communicate with my customers about various things, and that's really interesting that they don't own it. And I won't share my email list either. But I also have a snail mail list. So I collect, if people want to give me their address, I collect addresses as well. And I'll send handwritten thank you cards because I figure, nobody gets mail anymore. And it's nice to get something,
Yeah,
something nice in the mail.
your mother would be proud of you.
Well,
Handwritten cards.
actually, my grandmother more so. We always, us kids in the summer, we would write my grandmother because we were in camp, and she'd give us $1 or something.
Right.
Well, my cousins who have kids, they were getting $10 a letter, but they never wrote. But when I was a kid, though, it was like we would hang out and write letters and trade stationery. And I mean, anyway, so I think a handwritten, and it's not a sales pitch when I send a thank you note. It is, a thank you, and that's it. But I just when I get an address, if I don't get an address, I'll send a personal email to thank them. I don't make that many sales, so it's not like I have hundreds and hundreds of people to send these to.
But that's the goal.
Sure, but it's very, it's all very personal. And um yeah. So I mean, I have thousands on my mailing list and email list, but when I'm saying when I make sales, I don't ever have like 50 thank you notes to write.
Right. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Anyway, I personally am a fan of open studios. It's inexpensive to do. It's a good way to get people to my studio, which is part of my goal because I have a showroom in my studio. And let me just stop that. So
Yeah, I wish I had more artists that live closer to me. I would love to do that. I
yeah.
have so much stuff in the garage to sell.
Uh-huh. Well, but at open studios, you're supposed to sell your artwork, that's
Yeah, no,
different.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I get it. Well, maybe there's somebody nearby that would have you as a guest.
Yeah, but then that involves work.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. Last year I did have a painter in my studio, and she set up pro panels on her own lights, and so it was a lot of work. And she would rather do it out of her home because it's slow. But this year registration was very early, but I have a big space, so I'd like to have one or two other artists because then I think it's a draw to have a few people. So, Oscar, you did a show this weekend?
Yeah, it went okay, but all means, if it wasn't the past days, I would say it was a good show, but it was interesting. I just entered all the sales. I sold 25 matte prints between 11 by 14s and 18 by 24s. I sold 3 wall pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the weather was good.
Yeah. What about crowds? What was that like?
The crowd was fine. It's just that it was mostly it's local people, and
Mm-hmm.
people don't seem to have. And I heard both things. This is the Virginia Beach is supposed to be one of the wealthiest areas in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
but the people was not spending money. From what I heard from a lot of people, they was complaining. Anybody that was doing high price point wasn't selling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the wrong time of year for Virginia Beach. Virginia
Yeah,
Beach is a tourist show.
yeah.
Ah,
It should be really in June.
Right. That's when it used to be.
Yeah,
It
so
when
used
why
to be
did
the
they change the?
weekend around Lakefront, either the week, I think the week before Lakefront.
same weekend actually Lakefront most of the time. Was like
Yeah.
at the backup. Those days I would back it up with I'll bike to Lakefront, knowing that most likely I won't get in, so I went going to Virginia Beach. Uh, and we
Do you mean Lakefront in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I don't even know if that show is happening this year. I haven't seen anything about it.
uh, you
I
know,
just looked to see on Zap if there was a thing, but I don't think they put it until I don't think anything goes on there till they open their, their thing.
Applications.
Yeah, because Des Moines wasn't on there either.
Oh, I see.
Barry, did you get into Coconut Grove?
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
thank you.
A toast
I
with my cough medicine.
I need something like that because I just did 3 shows in October, and I'm getting really fed up with the really crap that's getting into these shows. I mean, I can't take it anymore.
Uh-huh.
well, maybe you should pick up better shows, Barry.
There aren't better shows. There's only a few. Anyway, I'm in Hilton Head, hanging out at anybody know Paul Schatz?
Yeah.
Nope.
Photographer used to do shows. Anyway, he sells real estate here. I just want to sit around for the rest of my life. Hilton Head is like a really, 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 really great place. It's really laid back. I just, great scenery. It's slower than being up north. I just like it. I could easily do nothing the rest of my life, except I can't afford to do nothing, but it's really great.
So you got into the Grove because of my images?
Of
Let's see.
course.
Let me think if I can think something witty to say about that. Yeah, it had something to do with it. But I've done it a lot, so
Yeah, I know.
it would be more like, hey, listen, but I got rejected from Gasparilla. God, I think they did me a favor.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason to
Where's
do Gasparilla is the prize money. Otherwise,
where's
it's
that show?
which
Tampa.
one? Gasparilla, Tampa.
Yeah. Oh, Tampa. Okay.
It messed up my Florida thing because if I actually get it, the real test would be Winter Park. If I get into Winter Park,
And Cherry
um,
Creek.
well, no, the Winter Park, no, that's like down the line. But I'm just talking about my Florida thing because according to Oscar, I didn't get one of the reasons why I didn't get in last year. Maybe the only reason is that I used the same images before,
Oh,
and Oscar claims
yeah,
that
that's the kiss of death at Winter Park.
yeah. So I
Repeat,
didn't know
repeat
that.
what happened? Reviews.
They have a long memory,
They
Uh-huh.
keep track of what you know from years
what you
past.
submit, because it needs to
Right.
be current work, constant.
Right.
Even in your booth, even though when I did Winter Park, the last time I did it was 2006. I saw a photographer there with pictures that he had 20 years ago
Oh.
at that time. So,
That's when you label them vintage.
yeah, right.
Nah, it's you know,
They have this thing. And even in the slide days, they knew what the images that you sent last year.
Good. I mean, isn't that a
Hey.
good thing?
I don't know.
I think so.
yeah, but it's
It kind
you
of
know,
depends.
What's the
that's
difference?
harsh, and that's really hard for everybody because that makes then you have to spend money doing the booth shot constantly because they also look at that. So you always have to, you know, they're a little bit old school when it comes to that. I don't have no problem with that, but you know, that's the rules. You have to know the rules before you apply.
Hmm.
But we see. So, oh, I'm redoing my text, the thing that you sent me, Allison.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Hey, I got a question. Did anybody see what I posted? The question I posted today on our review.
Yes. I responded.
No.
Oh, see, I haven't looked to see
What
Yeah.
what
question
people
was it?
said.
What was your question?
Okay. I'm noticing personally, and then I've been keeping track of what people have been saying about their shows, and they're doing less. They're doing less business. There's less customers, and well, for me, this last weekend, which was horrible. Well, it wasn't that bad. Okay, it was really bad. I can't I can't decide. Everybody that came by said, "Oh, these are really great," and then they just walked away.
What show?
By the end, my demeanor was gone. I didn't want to hear a compliment anymore.
What show was it?
Bluffton
What show?
Art and Seafood Festival. It's a little show
I've
outside
never
of
heard of
Hilton
it.
Head. Wealthy area, small.
Well, I will tell you that at many shows, I've had a lot of engagement, and just in any kind of, just normally, the pace for me is I'm very big on the BVACs. People come, they try things on, they take pictures, they think about it.
Mhm.
And I've had a lot of that at several shows. So they were not walking by like zombies, they were engaging. And my return rate, I would say, is definitely lower than it's been,
Yeah.
just in general. And I've never had that before. Like it's different if people are walking by like zombies and I'm not making sales. Okay, they're not engaging.
Yeah.
But with all this engagement, I'm seeing less action, I guess you could say, in general.
I'm going to tell you this. I've been getting this year. I'm getting a lot of after show sales more than normal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say also that
Yeah, but that's
I think,
because your work doesn't fit in their cars.
well, sometimes.
Yeah, but I get after show sales in general, and I have not been getting. I mean, my work is very easy to ship.
But the other thing I was
So
going to say that I think that people are comparing. There was a moment that everybody was thinking when the post-COVID bubble is going to burst, and I think that's
mhm.
just happened. I think that people need to start comparing numbers to pre-COVID. If you're doing better numbers than pre-COVID, the year before COVID happened, then you're in the right path. If you're doing less money than the year pre-COVID, then you're in the wrong path. I think that we just went through a bubble period. I don't think that that's my opinion. Also, think that this last month with all the political stuff, all the wars going on, some people start holding back a little bit more. I know for sure that in Philadelphia, most of my buyers are Jewish. They didn't come out to buy. They stay at home, most of them.
Well,
Part of
you
that might have
attribute
been
that to the war in Israel?
Yeah. So it's
Or maybe people are feeling like we're on the precipice of World War III, more so.
That's not even remotely true.
It might
Gonna
be a
happen.
security issue
Not
too.
gonna happen.
Might
Well,
be a security issue, Oscar.
what?
Might be a security issue for them.
Yeah, there's some of that.
Yeah,
Well, I would know.
that's what I'm thinking. Like, there's a lot of going on right now that I think that is holding people back. I just don't think. Some people want to say the economy and etc., but I think that it's more and more. I think about it. It's more what's going on around and people not feeling stable.
Also the interest rates, the housing market, all of that too.
Can
I
I-
mean, people might feel less rich because if they wanted to sell their house, they can't so much right now.
No, not only
Maybe
that, you can sell your house with no problem. The inventory is slow, so you can sell it. The problem is it will be really hard for you to find a house where you can put your profit and pay out the next house almost 50% off, like I used to be. Like the trend is just always been to buy a house, sell it, and the margin profit you put in into the new house, so you have a smaller mortgage and keep improving. That's always been the so-called American way. But
Can I give my take on this?
no.
No.
And this is what I posted. This is based on experience over the years and having some knowledge of some of this. You're all discussing the reasons for this, but I've always thought that we foretell the economy having a recession or the economy tanking in some degree 6 months before it happens, because people that buy our work, it's personal disposable income. And when that stops, that signals the economy starting to go into a recession or to tank. And I've always found that we're 6 months ahead of the reality. So we foretell what could happen in the future, in the like 6 months from now.
Your analysis doesn't make sense
Sure it
because
does.
I mean the job
You're giving
the unemployment
reasons.
rate is really low. I mean, there are many strikes
You're
and
you're
things like
giving the
that.
micro analysis reason. I'm doing the macro, which is the overall one. You're
Yeah, but
giving
based on recession, based on what then?
the fact that we're not personal disposable income, the ability to have the money to buy stuff that you don't need, like we don't make anything that's necessity. So when people have the money, like if the stock market's doing good and they made money without working, they take some of that money and they go out and spend it on artwork. When that
Yeah, but
dries up, then eventually the the money for necessities starts, they start feeling a pinch, and
The
then
people
that
who buy our work aren't pinched to spend $600 on a clay pot. I mean,
have you ever been sold artwork during a recession or tried
pardon?
to?
Yes, of
yeah,
course.
but we're not in a recession, Barry.
Hey,
I'm
the
talking about
price of how
2006. I'm talking about listen, we've had,
Well, 2008, you mean?
yeah,
Or
and we've had a steadily incline. The economy's done great since then. It's generally cyclical, goes up, goes down. We've had a steady stream. It's a record of how good the economy is.
I gotta get another tank.
I guess. I disagree with you. There's no basis for a recession. It's the problem is, I mean, first of all, the people who buy our work are not living paycheck to paycheck, and they've actually accrued more wealth since 2020 because the tax system favors, the 1%. So I'm not sure.
Allison, I agree with that about not living. It's the people that don't live paycheck to paycheck. But here's what I found. There are a whole lot more people now living paycheck to paycheck. And it's those people that didn't used to live paycheck to paycheck that made up, part of the market for artists. And
Those
now
people
then,
those people don't
they are
count.
living paycheck to paycheck.
Those people don't
Who are
count.
those people? I mean, yeah.
They don't count. I'm talking about the people that have money. I'm just telling you.
I mean,
okay.
I used to, in the old days, I used to sell to school teachers. They always, once a year they'd buy something, and people like that have not bought from me, because they can't afford to now. So I'm not sure who you're talking about, Court.
Well,
I'm talking about people like school teachers. You just basically made my point where you have people that used to be able to afford the work now can't.
Yes, but that was before 2008. By 2008, I think we lost the middle class.
And I think we're continuing to lose a middle class.
Well, I don't think there is a middle class.
Bring back
Well,
Bill Clinton.
That's that's
Well,
When Clinton was president, art shows were great.
Allison, I have a little hard time with your analysis because you're way to the far left, progressive, and
no, I'm not an intolerant left. I'm not intolerant left. I'm not.
Wait a
I'm-
minute. I don't know
No,
about that, but it's okay.
Yeah, I'm pragmatic.
Okay.
I'm not an intolerant.
Okay. All I did was pose the question online. I didn't really offer a solution except that I see
Right.
signs, and I wanted to
Right,
see what
okay.
anybody else thought.
No,
So here's wait. I want to just say one thing. Every year I say this and I forget it, but the fall, like October before the holidays, is always really slow for me. And I don't know about any of you, but obviously if you're at a show, it shouldn't be slow, but it's kind of a no man's land between seasons, I guess you could say.
the
Hey.
only thing I can tell you, this Core has a point, Allison has a point, Barry, you might be wrong. So
I have the most educated point of anybody. But
Well,
anyway,
I don't know about
listen,
that. But you didn't say you're it's not an educated point. It's more of a feeling. It's anecdotal because you're saying we're the canary in the coal mine and you see it
Yeah, I
happening
am
because
saying
we
that.
hear.
That's
Right.
from experience.
but
I understand, but it's not based on numbers, right? It's
But-
not based on
Oh, okay.
actual fact.
All right, here's something I agree with you about that actually is real because we had a gallery and our slowest 2 months were September and October. So which I sort of forgot. So yes, you have a point. You have a good point there.
I forget it every year.
But this is what I'm saying. Though there's a lot of things mixed up right now that you cannot. Nobody can really tell you if we head into a recession or not. Most people don't think that we are. If you ask to the so-called expert, one would tell you that we're heading in a recession. One would tell you it's going to land in the soft landing. Somebody say that we're not in recession. But there's too many factors affecting how things are, and we really don't want to know until next May, most likely.
Yeah, that's 6 months from now.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
And
saying.
then there's also some things looming, like having no speaker means when we hit the debt ceiling situation again.
Dysfunctional.
Right.
That's the
Well,
operant word.
Part of the problem is when you have guys like Matt Gaetz and and what's her name being elected to
Yeah.
office, whatever her name is,
From Georgia.
No, Florida.
it's pathetic.
Taylor Green.
Yeah, I mean, come on, those people.
Well,
That's
the thing is,
embarrassing.
look, the thing is, if their goal is to destroy, our democracy, this is exactly what they want to happen. And if they can't approve the debt ceiling, then anyone who works for the government, not anyone, there's certain people who will still get paid, but a lot of people won't get paid. People won't get their Social Security, all of that. And oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, we'll get our Social Security. We will.
Thank goodness. But the point is that it affects a lot of different things, as we know. And I just think that the buying energy, now this is just anecdotal. It's well, there's a psychology to buying, and people need to feel good, in general. And
Mhm.
so, and it's October, and of course, famously, October 29th. So Barry, I hope you're wrong. I understand what you're saying, because this is what we hear from lots of our colleagues, and I just hope you're wrong.
Well, I hope I'm wrong too, because I want to buy a place in Hilton Head and never do another art fair. Well, except maybe the good ones.
Well, you got to marry rich then.
I'm trying. No, I'm not trying, but I make that joke. But hey, what's really funny is I had a bunch of conversations here, and tongue in cheek, I brought that up, and especially to women, and they go, "Oh yeah, I got a lot of friends that are in that situation." So they do they do exist, but I'm doing the art fair, so and then now I'm just kind of hanging around, so I'm not actively looking. It's just kind of funny to me, but anyway, I shouldn't be saying these things.
Oh, nobody will know.
What do you mean? This is public. What are you talking about?
Says the man recording everything.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Uh
Forever.
Hey,
It'll be
Frank,
out there
I have
forever.
a local photographer here that's really, really good nature photographer. She doesn't have a website. She has no way to sell prints. She's never sold a print. What would you suggest she uses for a platform?
I don't get it.
Um,
She wants to sell prints.
Yeah, she needs to pay for the equipment that she's bought.
Squarespace in some ways is really, really good, but the e-commerce
Okay.
tool is a little clunky. And I was putting people on Weebly. I don't put them on Weebly anymore because I don't trust Square, which owns it. And
What about Zenfolio?
Hey, Larry.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm only vaguely familiar with it because I've known a couple people on it, but it looked okay.
Yeah, and
Can we
that-
go back to can we go back
Let
to
me-
not
he'll-
stop?
No, I can do it.
I'd like to go back to not trusting Square. Which Square
Hmm.
do you mean?
Square, who does the little boxes
Square-
that you use on
Do
your
you mean Square Up?
Square owns Square Up and it owns Weebly and has nothing to do with Squarespace.
Correct. Okay, so you don't trust Square Up.
I don't trust Square because they're mismanaging Weebly and Square Up.
Okay. Right. They had a malfunction on Saturday, and so I took
Yeah.
a sale. I took a sale, and I didn't see it in my transactions because I always look right away. And so I charged the customer again. Then later that afternoon, I got an email, Square, saying that they're having some problems. So I had to refund the customer. And then through a chat, I said, well, you need to they no longer, if you make a refund, you still have to pay the discount fee.
yeah.
So I did end up getting my discount fee back, but it was like a chat sort of back and forth to get it, and then it did return back to normal. So that's why I thought it's interesting that you're saying that you don't trust them.
I
And
I
it-
have no reason to distrust the payment gateway other than the story you just told me.
Well,
Uh-huh.
it happened to me too,
Well, it
But-
happened to everyone.
because
You mean on Saturday?
one
Wait,
uh,
somebody's-
white thing went through
somebody's-
fine, the other one, 20
Do you mean
minutes
Saturday?
work.
Do you mean Saturday?
It was on Sunday, actually.
On a Sunday.
But the
Okay. It was
first
this
one was
weekend.
fine, and then the second one, I couldn't get it to the page where you say, how much and please swipe.
Right.
It just sort of,
No, just, you have a Zoom account?
Mute yourself.
Type in the
Barry.
number.
Barry,
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 screw
mute yourself.
I had it up.
Kaylee, it happened to everyone. I mean,
yeah, well,
it
it didn't
wasn't-
say
yeah.
anything was wrong. I never got a note or anything about
you
it.
never got it. Oh, interesting. Because I also got an email saying everything was restored as well.
Yeah,
Well, it's
it's
locked
time.
in spam or something then, but
One of the
Okay. And then-
reasons.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, sorry.
No, I'm busy. I can't.
Okay, one of
Barry,
the
mute
reasons I
yourself.
don't trust,
he's
Barry,
muted.
would you mute yourself, please?
I
Thank you, did.
muted him.
Okay,
Thank you, Larry.
Larry. One of the reasons I don't trust Square is because they have, I found in the documentation for Weebly that they are promising to keep the Weebly platform in place till the end of June 2025. And that they're not saying that they're going to shut it down at the end of June 2025. They're promising to keep it up till then, which kind of sounds like they're going to take it down in July or August or September. I'm paying them money to have a multiple use, to white label it. And they have not sent me any emails to tell me what the plans are. It's in there, but I stumbled on it. Their behavior to their customers is grossly unethical.
Mhm.
And it was a good company before Square bought them. It wasn't perfect, like none of them are perfect, but I
Right.
had excellent tech support and no, they're very responsive when I talk to them. Since then, things are getting weird, and functionality that it still exists on a website that was built 5 years ago is not available on a new website.
Oh, damn.
I mean, they're degrading the platform.
Hmm.
So,
That sounds pretty much like most companies in the tech business.
well, no, I
Yeah.
mean, there's lots of times when companies do things that they think are upgrades that we think are downgrades, but this is different. This is not, we have a bright idea and, oh, we're sorry, we're breaking things. This is
Mhm.
functions that were there that are necessary are not there and are still working on old websites, are not available on new websites. And it's stupid. If you are selling something and you want to edit the email your customer gets when they buy it, the ability to edit that is grossly diminished. They had to work
Yeah.
at making that function worse.
So what options do they give you? Or, I mean, it sounds like they're not being transparent.
They're not being transparent.
Mhm.
And documents that were in the database of documentation aren't there anymore. You put in a search and they'll list a document, you click on it and it's not available.
Oh,
So that's Weebly. Now, whether Square as a payment gateway is behaving badly or not, I don't know. I've not heard a single thing bad about it.
right. Well, it's normal. I mean, they've had, companies have glitches, things go down. So that's
Right. Well,
not
yeah,
unusual.
right. What
But it makes
happened over
me-
the weekend doesn't strike me as malfeasance, but
Right. But I realized I need a second way to pay to take, and I thought, well, I have Stripe through Squarespace, but the only way to use it is if somebody was in my studio, I'd have to charge them through my website. And then I realized, and I don't know if anyone here has Squarespace, but it used to add sales tax if it was local, because you could choose ship or pick up, and then you put it in an address.
Mhm.
But adding the sales tax now, you have to open up some whole different app. And I couldn't deal with it on Saturday, but I've got to look into it. I mean, it shouldn't be that complicated to add sales tax.
Wait. You lost me.
Allison, can't you just enter the card number?
I don't know. Again, it was when I was open, so I didn't really see other ways to do. Basically, they could click, or I could click on the physical object that they're buying on my computer, but it's not a point of sale system. It's really an online system.
But I mean, with Square, if you're having problems with Square, can't you just?
Well, the problem with Square is the transaction wasn't showing up. So even if you key it in, it wasn't showing up, and that was the whole point with that. So I thought, well, maybe I could use Stripe if I have any issues. Square worked the rest, fine after that. But with Stripe, it's really just an online way of, I'd have to have my computer open to the page and click something or put in a custom amount, because it's not a point of sale. It's not set up like that. So I'm just saying, I think it's a good idea to have, yet a third, merchant account.
I've never had a problem with it. There is some delay occasionally, but in the end, I always get the right amount of money.
Right, but I'm just saying, I've never had a problem, but there was a glitch this weekend, and it's nice to have a backup.
It's probably they're victim of their own success.
Well,
But what I'm saying is any company could have, glitches, and so, but if you're at a show, you still need to take payments.
right.
So
But if
having a
there's a lot
backup
of people making payments on the same day in all the businesses that do Square, there might be a electronic glitch to it.
It's highly unlikely that it was the quantity of sales on this weekend that had anything to do with it. That this wouldn't have been that heavy a day. If they can handle something the week before Christmas when everybody's shopping, then something in October isn't going to be a problem. But it's, if somebody did a faulty coded an improvement and it had a flaw in it that passed the quality assurance thing, and then it goes into the live thing, it could affect something else and something goes haywire, and then they have to debug and it takes a while. Or a server crashes, not because of the load on the system, but because a lightning strikes in the local area and the backup system that can't handle the workload, and then things cascade. Everything is incredibly complicated now, and the interdependence is such that nobody can understand all of it or plan all of it or predict all of it. And I'm sure there are very smart people who work very hard to keep their systems up, and even the best ones fail occasionally.
Which is why it's good to have an alternative.
Absolutely, Allison, you're absolutely right.
But just to
you've got a Stripe account, maybe I don't know Stripe well enough, but could you send somebody a Stripe invoice or an email with a Stripe credit card form in it?
Stripe is Wells Fargo.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know what we think about Wells Fargo.
Right. So I don't know yet, because I didn't investigate that, but I thought at the time, because it was right in the middle of Open Studios, I thought, well, I can at least open my computer and make a sale through Stripe, through my website. Yes. Would have been, if I had to do that.
Okay.
But I don't know the rest.
But Allison, the only problem that Square had this weekend it's not that they couldn't process the transactions. It's whether the transactions was not showing in your transactions right away. It would show up an hour later.
Right.
So sometimes, honestly, I don't have time to check out the transaction when, because I had time that I have 2-3 customers waiting for me to run the credit card. So
well, I always have time to check. You know, because
But
I don't have people waiting to buy from me, but
but
you know,
that's unique. But I think that if it will be, I will be concerned. My It bugged me, but I was no. It didn't scare me because the transaction was still going on. It was just not showing right away. But if it wasn't that I cannot process the credit card, it will be different. Like when I'm in Bonita, sometimes I need to pray to God that I get a good signal because I can't even run Square in there.
Yeah, that's another
Mhm.
problem. If there's buildings in the way.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
the point is the point. Wait, the point is though, if the transition wasn't showing up, I had no knowledge of a glitch at that time, so I thought my phone was acting weird or something, or it didn't go through, and so that's why I charged them again.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
understand.
you know,
you quickly rectified that though by,
right.
okay, listen, I hate to interrupt you, but see the new guy is Paul Schatz. He used to be a photographer, did all the art fairs all over the country. And now he sells real estate in Hilton Head, and he has a unique perspective on this. So he wanted to get on. So here he is.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
And he's a really
Hello.
funny guy too.
um, yeah, I was just sort of listening to Barry's meeting, and I did art festivals for years. I quit doing them before the pandemic, so I can't give you any personal input on what's happened since the pandemic began, so I won't even attempt to do that. But I'm happy to give you input on my perspectives on um, up to that point, why sales weren't very good, and as far as the Square thing goes, you know, that the technology's changed so much, so I don't have any input on that. But I did want to mention one thing I was thinking about when I was overhearing you guys before I got on was um, I noticed a big difference in the personal characteristics of a different generation of buyers. So going back to 20 years ago, who were the buyers versus who are the buyers now, and what are common characteristics of those buyers. And this is strictly from input from people that I spoke to in my booth. And a lot of it had to do with the big buyers when they were in their 40s and 50s were the baby boomers 20 years ago. And they were a consumer generation. They were buying artwork. They were enthusiastic about it. And then now we're in a time when those baby boomers are now watching their money because they're retired, and they've got to think about healthcare. They've got to think about their how long is their money going to last. And so who are the buyers now? The buyers now are more the millennials, the people that have 30 years of earnings ahead of them, so they don't have to worry too much about buying something right now if it's going to stretch them. And they tend, in my opinion, from what I heard in conversations, they were more excited about experiences as opposed to things. They were constantly saying, "Oh yeah, we're saving our money up so we could go zip lining in Vietnam, or we're saving our money up so we could go see Ireland and go to the pubs." And they were more interested in experiences rather than stuff. So I don't know if any of you felt that way, but it seemed to be that there was a change in the personality of the consumers. And
Well, I've
yeah,
got to say my customers are still baby boomers, like they're 80 years old, and they're not counting their pennies or saving for trips. They have, you know, like eight homes. I mean, you know, and millennials, you know, I don't, I would say most of my customers are 50 or older. Um,
Yeah.
so,
And
you
there's
know,
less of them because they're dying.
yeah, that's kind of my
well,
point was, you know, I made silver gelatin original darkroom black and white prints. And those I framed and those I hung and I made them large. And they were the most expensive items in my booth. And I was forced to start making digital reproductions in the form of matted prints so that I could sell to the newer generation. And that's sort of what I'm alluding to, was there were less and less collectors out there who repeatedly bought big silver prints from me. They were getting older and they were watching their money a little bit because they were now retired and they didn't have any income anymore. And the prints that I'm selling, I was selling to younger people. So I was forced to sort of do that, whereas I wasn't forced to do that 15, 20 years ago. That's kind of what I'm alluding to.
Oh,
Well, I
also
find that
possibly those
I-
baby boomers had filled up their walls with your stuff and didn't have room
Definite
anymore.
definite possibility. I just think that there were less customers like them.
And I hear that. Oh, we don't have any room for anything.
I mean, at a basic level, it seemed like people were coming to the show for something to do, to see art, to view art, as opposed to purchase art.
Hey, that's the feeling I got this past weekend. Like I was there to entertain them, not to sell them something. And it's frustrating.
well,
I mean,
here's a
this-
question, Barry. Here's a question, Barry. Do you
Yes.
keep a mailing list and send out a mailing at all?
Well, whether I do or don't, this was a new show. I hadn't done this show before, so I didn't have a
Okay.
mailing list from this
But
area.
she's got a valid point. You have to build a client base, no matter what business you're in. And I told Barry when he came to Hilton Head, I said, you might have a bad show this weekend, but someone's going to come see you next year and they're going to be a buyer. And then they might buy another pot from you the year after. And you have
But then
to keep
there's also I find personally that my customers, I don't know where they're going to turn up. And so I mean, I've seen people, I'm in Santa Fe, and actually people come from all over the country here. So I send out my events to my entire list. And like in Denver, I saw customers from Chicago. They didn't buy from me, they said hi, but that's okay because sometimes they say hi and, hopefully more seeds are planted.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, Santa Fe is one of the top art markets in the country. It might even be the third highest after, New York.
It is. Yeah,
And
it's number 3.
And so, but my point was, in a little show like Barry did this weekend in Hilton Head, there are a lot of wealthy people here, but
Right.
not as many that would come to Santa Fe. They're going to Santa Fe to buy. You're gonna have interior designers that are gonna be there that are looking to purchase work for their clients. You're gonna have gallery owners who are looking to pick up new clients. You're not gonna have that in a small show like this. You're just looking for the right
But
person to walk into
but
your booth.
Hilton Head, is it well, it's a tourist destination, a high-end tourist destination. Is it a like second homeowner place as well?
Yes, multiple owner place, home
Right.
place, a lot of celebs and stuff because, people here don't really, it's not paparazzi like, so if they see celebrities out,
And-
they don't bother them. So those people tend to come here because they know they could be like a normal person and not be swamped
Yeah.
when they go out to a restaurant. But I mean, it's only 40,000 people on the island, but in the summertime, it's 100,000 because of the tourists.
Mhm.
But in the off
Right.
season, it's not. And the Bluffton show, and what I'm saying is that this alludes to your mailing list comment, is you do have to work those people because you will make sales because those people will not see the show advertised and didn't know it was that weekend.
There's another problem that grades on this, that the artwork by and large was horrible. It was flea market level, and it doesn't seem like the directors, the people that run this, know that, and they're not attracting better artists. So if you have all these people with money come, they go, what is this stuff that we don't? There might be a few people, but there's not enough to sustain, for them coming. And where are those buyers? It was
Yeah.
especially true at St. James Court. Where were they? I mean, I
So I
rely
have a
on-
question. Can people go to Hilton Head for the day, or do they make day trips?
Yeah, because it used to be more of like come for a week. It was Ohioans and Michiganders and New Yorkers, but the explosion of Atlanta and Charlotte over the last
Mhm.
10 years, there's a lot of people who are purchasing vacation homes here and they just come down to the beach because it's a 4-hour drive. You know, so you live in Atlanta, you can be up in the mountains in a couple hours, you can be down on the coast and go down for
Right.
a day, a weekend, nice, world-class restaurants, beautiful beaches. But we are seeing a lot more of that. We're seeing a lot more tourists in the off season. And those people are Southeast regional people.
Uh-huh.
But I think you're absolutely right, Allison. I had a clipboard that was on a table outside on the corner of my booth, and I had people put their emails down,
Mhm.
and I would blitz out every show, and I would put them into my database, and I would classify them with what show did I see them at. So, so somebody who lives in Santa Fe, I'm not going to send out an invitation to come to Armonk, or I'm not going to send them, an invitation to go to Artisphere or Coconut Grove. I'll save that for the Western shows. So I had a system like that, and I've actually used that in my real estate career right now because your database is your business. And yes, as much as we and you guys, not me as much anymore, you're artists, you're business people.
Yep.
And it's you can be a mediocre artist and a great business person and do extremely well. You can be a fantastic artist and a crappy business person and go hungry.
Right. I
But
know.
you have to, that's part of your job, is you have to put that legwork in, make contact with people, send letters, send notes. If you get a client, don't just sell to the client and deliver it. Find out when their birthday is.
So,
And work it
oh,
and send them a note on their birthday.
one of the things Barry said is the show used to be in, what was it, May or June? Is that what you said,
No,
Barry?
No, I didn't say that. Somebody else said that.
That was
Oh,
no, the
close
show is always in
Virginia Beach.
October.
okay. Because I was wondering about the
Talking
time
about
of
a
year if it
different
had
show.
changed.
But I
okay.
mean, I did hundreds and hundreds of shows, just like you guys. And we all know that there's a lot that's out of your hands. For example, who walks into your booth and when do they walk into your booth? I had people walk into my booth that said, we came to buy a 4-foot piece for over our couch. And if we hadn't walked in and bought one 2 booths over, we would have bought this piece.
Oh, I hate
Yeah.
that.
And that's great feedback. It sucks when you hear it, but it's really great feedback because
Although,
what it
really,
does,
what could you do with that, though?
well, what you could do with that is you can say not everything is under my control, and that helps you deal with shitty days and the shitty shows.
Mm-hmm.
All you can do is your best. And if
Right.
someone, if you're in the front of a show and somebody comes at the other end of the show and buys, and they don't buy your piece, well, maybe they're going to buy next year. But you know what? That wasn't because you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything wrong.
Hey, Paul, I'm
Yeah.
actually going to come back next year because I'm counting on that. There can't be that many people that gave me that many compliments that are not going to buy. They're not going to think about it all year long and come back next year. And
But how will
Allison,
they think about it? How will they think about it? You have to contact them and remind them who you are.
You're
Yep.
absolutely right. It definitely helps. It's more of a job than just going to a show and selling your work and the time you produce the work. It's
I
marketing.
got to tell you a couple of things. You have to also know who's your customer. Like, I
True.
don't approach everybody in my booth. I already know most of the time who's going to have a higher chances of buying my work on what they're looking for. Like, if a couple in between 35 and 50 with a baby stroller I got a better chance of them buying something from me than a young couple walking with a bunch of guys walking in there. You have to know who's your clientele. You also have to know, I got females, they person that walk into the booth in their 40s that you can tell that they were the friends or they're singles or they're just talking, looking around. That you have to approach them, but you have to know who's going to be your buyer. And then you have to pray, if it's a brand new show, that the show is advertising to your type of customers Other
Well,
than
I would play devil advocate on that, Oscar, as I understand what you're saying, but you never know when you're going to get a referral. You never
no,
know when
I
somebody walks into your booth that you look at and said, this is not a buyer. They might have a friend that they told about your work.
I know, it doesn't mean that when I'm saying that, I'm not
Great
saying that I'm going
point.
to be.
That's a great point.
Wait. I'm not saying that I'm going to be rude and ignore them. I still say hi. I
Yeah.
still did give a business card. Tell them, but I'm not going to invest a lot of time in them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I did enough shows to know that you only have so much energy, and especially when you're not selling, it tapped your energy faster, and
Yeah.
it's hard to motivate yourself to be on stage and to sell yourself. You know, because we're not just selling our artwork, we're selling ourselves.
Yeah.
Allison might be talking about her process, and Court might be talking about his equipment, and
So
Barry might be talking about the materials that he used. So you're selling yourself, and sometimes it's hard, and you're just like, oh, screw this. This guy's not going to buy. I'm just not
so
going to put the energy.
so this weekend, a woman on Thursday, I went to a thing that another artist had, met several people, gave them my card. One of them came to my studio. You know, she says, I love your work. I'm looking for a gift. It's out of the price range and it's not her style. But I love your work. That's what she said. So she pretty much established she wasn't going to buy something. But I said to her, well, you're here, so I want to take things out. I want to tell you about my work. And if you want to just hold something, that's fine. And they were here for a little while. And in the end, and she and her husband liked this modestly priced necklace. He said, I want to buy this for you. And they discussed it. And so she bought it. I don't always, I'm not a natural salesperson, but sometimes you could step outside yourself and, see. I mean, I didn't know if she was going to buy something or not, but I knew since she liked my work, let her at least have some type of experience with the work. And
Yeah, and I'm
um,
guessing you were proud of yourself that evening for going the extra mile or doing something you normally wouldn't do. You may have
well,
been
no,
like,
I'm actually, it's not a matter of being proud. It's like I'm learning how to how to be a better salesperson while remaining authentic. And so another example, I do an artist market, which is in conjunction with the farmers market. And so people are not expecting me there. There's galleries around where you could buy a $900,000 sculpture. Um, and the artist market is actually separate than the farmers market. So this woman said, your work is expensive. It's nice, but what are you doing at a farmer? Why are you selling at a farmer's market? She said. And I said to her, well, that's the farmer's market up there. And here, all these tents, this is a juried exhibition. Everyone here makes their own work. And I saw her face change. And so it's something I'm working on, how to respond. She didn't buy anything from me, but just at least taking because I had somebody say to me, I wasn't expecting to spend this much. And so it's something I'm working on as far as when people get there and they're not at an art fair. People are expecting to be at an art fair. Maybe they're telling themselves they're going to buy something, where at this artist market, they're really, they don't know. I mean, a lot of people know to go there. It's very busy, but they're not expecting it. And so I'm working on responses to try to get people into the mode, of the sale.
well, that's good. I mean, that's at the heart of sales. And I got in a funk for like 3 or 4 years. I was saying the same shtick to people. I was saying the same thing. And I was just like, well, maybe it's not all them. Maybe part of it is me. Maybe I've got to start being creative. Maybe I got to start telling people I'll work with you. We can make payments on this. Or what, or having them tell me what can I do for them so that they could get that. And once I started doing that, I started having a lot more success.
Hey,
Right, you're solving a problem.
Yeah, it's
hey,
sales.
something that relates to that and what Allison said, when they come in and they say they're looking for a gift, and you're too expensive, I always assume, well, what do you expect to charge? And I try and tailor, when I know their price range, then I can show them work within that price range. And let's say let's say I have $300 pieces and they're looking for something that not more than $250. So I might be willing to, make somewhat of a deal. Like, okay, I have these pieces and I don't necessarily want to do 250, but I might do 275. And that actually works. That, it's closer to what they want. And if they like it, they don't mind spending a little more money. So, and I want to make the sale as long as I'm not sold out halfway through the show and wish that I hadn't, given them a deal. I'm taking it because I can make another one. So I
I just want to jump
working with
on one more thing because I got to get off and try to sell somebody $1 million house. So you think you think sales are hard, what
Small
you're
one.
doing, try doing that. But somebody asked, and I overheard this, about what this photographer could do that doesn't have a website. Could you ask that again? Because I think I have some input on that.
That was me.
Yeah, what was the question?
Well, this is somebody she's a really good nature photographer, but she works for the post office and she's obsessed with photography. And she's posting beautiful pictures on Facebook almost every day. But she doesn't have a website to send people to. And I need to figure out a way for her to actually make money from it, selling prints.
Okay, I have input on that. Number one, tell her websites are dirt cheap.
Yeah, well, she knows that. She just doesn't have the time.
Okay, well, the other thing is the internet. And unfortunately, like a lot of businesses in this country, brick and mortars have been the victims of internet. I think a lot of artists at art shows have been victims of that. I noticed as the years went on, I started making more and more sales on the internet and less sales at art shows. So I would say I would have her pursue. There's a number of companies that that you can join up and they will sell your prints.
Like
That's interesting.
Home goods?
Yeah. So what you do is you
like
send them
Fine Art America.
Yeah, you send them the digital image.
Right.
And they put it on the website and they take a percentage as their fee.
Right.
And they send you the packaging material. So it comes from their company, it's got their labels on it from their company and everything. And they will sell your work for you. It's something that I was never interested in doing because I did 40 art shows a year for, 10 years. I was selling it myself. But if I was her and I was starting out, I would pursue the internet.
Yeah. Fine Art America.
Yeah. There's a couple of them.
That's a good idea.
And,
Paul, I know that you have to get off in a moment, but do you have any words of wisdom, tidbits, sales advice for us?
Screw art shows and go into housing.
Well, I do have a word of advice, and this is something that I struggled with, and I finally figured it out, and it made doing art shows a much more pleasant experience for me. Which is art shows are about more than the art show. One of the great things about the industry that you guys are in and I was in was that it's so unique. You got to travel. You got to eat in restaurants in cities you would never if you had a regular 9-to-5 job. Someone like myself or Oscar, we could photograph when we were on the road. Some other artists can do their artwork on the road. Look at Barry's visiting me. He's never been to Hilton Head. He's having a great experience down here. So the only advice that I would say was, don't let your sales number be the only thing that determines if you had an enjoyable experience. There's value in the other experiences that come with doing art shows. The people that you meet that walk in your booth, the relationships you develop, those restaurants you get to go to. I'm going to take Barry down to the beach, things like that. There's all value in that. The national parks you go to see, and when I came to grips with that, all of a sudden I didn't get as stressed when I had a crap show if I sold $500 at Fort Worth. I was like, well, I got to come out here and go to the hill country for a week. I got to see the blue bonnets and I got to photograph and I got to get some great barbecue and I'll get them next week.
You have to have that attitude in this business. I did it 43 years. I think I've seen it all.
It wears you down if you don't justify why you're doing it, because you're not going to have a great show at every show. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, the fellow that I trained under, I don't know if any of you know him, his name is Clyde Butcher. He started out in art shows, and he's you know, selling $50,000, $100,000 photographs now, and he's done extremely well for himself. But he put in the time. He slept in his van, just like you guys do, just like I did. You know, if you got to stay in a Motel 6, it was a luxury. And, you know, he said the best times of his life was then. So I
Yeah.
said, I'm not going to wait till I look back on it and love it. I'm going to love it now.
Okay, I never slept in my van. I don't think I've ever stayed in a Motel 6. I've learned, jeweler, I learned that I deserved a good night's sleep. So I better stay in a hotel that will
Oh,
hopefully afford me a good night's sleep.
we've been talking about that. We've been making jokes about like you deserve this. Every fun thing that we've been doing, you deserve this.
Yep.
It's great.
Everybody's in
Great
a different
attitude.
everybody's in a different place in their career. Sometimes I had to do that. I had to stay in my RV or my van. Other times I could stay in a hotel.
As jewelers, we really can't because of security issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I get
You
that.
know.
And
You know,
Yeah.
I'm
and
going to say this.
I'm a 6'2", 270-pound single guy. I got no problem sleeping in a Walmart parking lot. If I was a young
I don't.
single woman, there's no way I would do that.
I That's more like a. I think there's choices that you make, and you know, I don't need to sleep in the band all the time, but I like sleeping in the band. I don't like to be in hotels, and and I kind of honestly, because I don't, I only go based on what I did in the last show. I can afford to be spending, like in Rittenhouse Square, it was $300 a night, basically for any hotel room in there.
Wow.
That's
Some of my
insane.
some of my
But
fondest
Oscar, but
fondest
also
memories.
you don't need, but Oscar, you don't need to worry about blow drying your hair.
So, you know, some of my fondest
Or
memories
washing your hair.
Hey, Allison, you blow dry
Hey.
your hair?
The gym,
Otherwise,
Allison, the
it would
gym
be.
is only.
Otherwise, it would never dry, even here.
Okay.
Some of my fondest memories were like hanging out in the parking lot at Coconut Grove with the other artists in the
Yeah.
night.
Oh,
at night,
that's legendary.
and
That's
playing
yeah.
guitar and doing all that. To me, some of that, you know, I remember those more than I remember the $15,000 show that I had.
Yeah. Well, listen, for me, I'm just want to talk about the people that I see here that I've had actually physical contact with. I mean, that I've seen a lot. And I love knowing Bonnie and Allison and Oscar and Larry. The rest of you, I'm not adding you because I haven't spent any time with you and Paul. Hey, what? And Paul, especially Paul, that experience meeting Paul and hanging out with Paul at Des Moines in the parking lot there, you know, his setup was so deluxe. He'd have a television and we'd watch movies and we'd sit out smoking cigars in the parking lot. I mean, it was really fun. Those are really great. Those are really great experiences.
Oh,
Well,
you're so spoiled.
I know I'm gonna jump off now, guys, but thanks for letting me sit in. Some of you I've hung out with and remember, some I haven't, but I wish you guys all nothing but joyous creativity and good health and good sales.
Yeah,
What a schmoozer.
thanks for
Thank you.
participating.
Sure. Good luck, guys. Keep it going.
Good luck selling a house.
Thank you. Good luck.
That's great. I'm gonna have to call him the guru now.
So you're staying with him, Barry?
Yeah.
You're having a few days off?
Well, you know, I sort of misjudged. I'm doing this this all ceramic show in Sylva, North Carolina, which is a
Yes.
fabulous 6-hour event. And
Yep.
and I didn't, you know, I didn't quite realize that there was a weekend in between doing Bluffton and doing that. So I had all this time. So Paul said, "Hey, stay with me." And we're having a great time. I love Hilton Head. I'd if I had the money, I'd be looking for a place to live right now. It's really laid back. It's quiet.
Hey, you
It's
can
a
get a new
definitely
van and
different
live in your
atmosphere.
van.
It's a
There you go.
different atmosphere than being up north. You know, it's so much. I just like it so much better.
Well, save your pennies.
I know, and maybe by the time I'm 95, I can, move here.
There you go.
So, you never know. But I like it.
Good. Well, you
I mean,
deserve a little time off. I didn't know that you did the pottery show down
oh
there.
yeah, this is my third year, and I wouldn't miss that for anything. It's great.
The
And
stories that come out of there are just amazing.
yeah, and this year the quality of the art, it's the best it's ever been. I mean, there's
Wow.
museum quality people doing the show. It's great. It's what I like. It's what I've been rallying for, and talking about. I want the shows to be better.
Well, I remember the year they put out a picture of it was Brian Beam, John Bauman, and maybe Paul Jaselskis.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he was the one in the middle or what. And everybody had gotten like an award. And it was just there were 3 very happy campers there.
Yeah, I don't know if they do awards anymore, but it doesn't really matter, you know. It's
No.
just fun to be there, and the sales are great. And people come from all over to buy there, and
So,
because
so
it's
what is it
they're-
about the ceramic world with these types of events? I mean, there's the St. Croix Pottery Tour, there's ACGA in California. I mean, and they're really great work. So I don't know, maybe ceramic artists are more organized, or what's the deal?
actually the most organized are the glass people. They really have it down. Um, I've been to glass events, and it was way before the clay events.
Uh,
And so the clay thing is relatively, I don't know if it's relatively new, or it only takes place in certain parts of the country that appreciate
right.
it. There are places that don't appreciate it as much as, like I said, North Carolina. I don't have to explain myself. It's just like
Yeah.
they come in, they know what they're looking at, and that's so great.
And
Hey,
Minnesota, apparently,
Barry,
too.
the St.
Yeah.
Croix one, is that Bob Briscoe's?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. I tried to get him to invite you. You have to be invited, and I dropped hints, but he wouldn't invite me. I think I asked him directly, "Come on, invite me," and it still didn't happen.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Not much.
It's like getting into
No.
Coconut Grove and then getting rejected from Gasparilla
Gasparilla.
2 days later. You know?
Did you get
I
into
don't be
Coconut
crying.
Grove?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Big crying.
Oscar,
Waitlisted. Don't.
you'll
I
get
don't
in.
even- No.
That's what I keep telling him.
If if autograph responds yes in the next 2 days, I'm going to do autograph. I don't even.
Okay.
I'm not going to I got rejected of my basically. I got rejected of my best 2 shows in Florida, so I'm trying 2 different things this year, and it's fine
Good.
with me. I just-
Oscar, my recommendation is don't pay the money right away. Don't commit.
I really
Just wait
commit.
a little while.
I don't play
Yeah.
games with that. I don't play games with those things. I just, that's the show that I get in. I get in. I don't. Every time I come off the wait list, I never have a good show.
Really?
Yeah,
I do.
Oh,
that's
Yeah,
I
real.
won
I have-
awards. I won awards
Yeah.
coming off the wait list.
No, I don't. So I just go with. I go wherever they got accepted. I'm waitlisted for
Bye, Frank.
Gasparilla, and that one I'm going to wait because it goes against Bonita 3. So I would rather wait for Gasparilla to come out of the wait list. But if Bonita asks me the money, I'm going to hold it as long as I can. But Camille told me that she want to know if the line's going to move until November 5th, and that's too long for me to wait.
Yeah, they won't know until all the booth fees are paid by the people that were invited.
Yeah,
Right, when the contracts are due.
But it's less than a month away that you have to pay for that. So you're not talking
yeah,
about a
but
long
if
period
comes
of
the
time.
problem that I need a corner, and Adigra offered me a corner, I will have a better chance to do it Adigra with a corner. To
There's
put,
less corners there than Coconut Grove.
it's a different layout, and I got people that can help me to get what I want in there. So it's just my preference. I'm still waiting for Winter Park in Naples National and Naples downtown. Other than that, everything else seems to be Bonita One, Naples Invitational, hopefully images. If not, I will do Bocas Patty. And then I got Bonita 2, Fort Myers, Bonita 2. More likely Adigrass. And I would say right now, the way I think it's going to be, Bonita 1, Naples Invitational. I would say images, Fort Myers, Bonita
A lot of
2,
shows.
Adigrass, South Miami, most likely Bonita 3, Backup Ranch, most likely Winter Park with
Too
the black and
many.
white work. And
I
You're
then
couldn't even,
overwhelming me.
there's no way I could have inventory for even a fraction of that.
I going to run
I'm
out.
in the wrong media.
I'm
No,
going
you're
to
not.
say I might be, because I've done it. This will be the third year that I do this many in a row. I already know what I need to bring and how much extra I need to bring. And then I comes to the fact that I always bring the things that I would run out of. I always bring more than what I need because I bring for the whole year before I bring my inventory for the year with me. And now
Oh,
that
wow.
so I don't have to. I got enough mats to do. The most I sell mats prints and it shows 20, so I will bring 200 blanks with me, and I will bring the next size up. I'm gonna bring 100. So it's just a guessing game, but I don't. I just bring what I can afford to bring and what I fit in the van. So I don't force the issue, but the rest is metal prints and you
Yeah.
play by the ear, you know. And I also try to. There's an image I usually sell, and I want to bring that smaller because I want to add a new image to that to make it like a pair. And now I'm trying to figure out where to put it in the booth. But it's it's
You are great.
just a process. I don't, I was next to
Oh,
Thomas. What is his last name?
let's not go that far.
Thomas
What does he do?
a sculpture, Wargin. He only does 10 to 12 shows a year, maybe 15 at the most.
That's
And
enough.
Really?
Yeah.
well, with the sculptures, yeah. But he told me his breaking point even is $10,000 just to break even, doing
Oh,
all
geez.
10 to 15 shows.
Might not
So
be
Oh, for
charging enough
all of
then.
the show?
what?
Is that for all of the shows together?
Per
No, each-
show, he has to make $10,000.
each show.
So he has to
Oh,
make
each show.
$150,000 in sales each year to break even. That's
Yeah,
his
but then
break even.
it sounds like he's not charging enough for his work then, if that's the break even.
No, he has a kosher in there for $15,000. So it's not like he's not charging for what he has.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be in Coconut Grove. He's a really nice guy. He was in the podcast with uh with
Will
and Douglas.
and Douglas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was telling me the story, and then I just go like, "Oh, you was in the podcast," and I remember most of the stuff. He's a nice guy, really, really nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't he saw a mask on Sunday and a Scotia piece on Sunday. And the most funny thing that happened all weekend long, he sold 12 price tags on Friday. I was just looking at him. If I didn't see it, I would not believe it.
What do you mean price tags?
Exactly what it sounds like. The price tags.
He sold his price tags?
Yeah.
Why would somebody want to buy a price tag?
Because they got something written says the title of the piece and a little verse, and he can't afford to buy any in Scotia, so he bought all price tags for $65.
I just don't really even understand that.
No,
I don't
me
either. Why
either.
didn't he just take pictures of them?
Hey, he bought it. That was his only sale for 2 days. If you know him, just look for him and ask him. Ask him what happened in the Broadwalk this year. Even his wife was going like a what? So yep.
Well,
So
Barry, what do you have next?
Florida. I got nothing for 3 months, so I'm just going to produce work
Oh, that's great.
and look for a new van you know, I always neglect the online presence, but I think I have the time now to explore that.
Good.
So I'm going to do all the stuff that I you know, blow off because I tell myself I don't have the time. So that's what I'm going to do. And so
Good.
so my first would be New Smyrna Beach, and which to me is a new one, and Oscar's going to be there to be fun. And I talked to Nels. Nels calls me. He lives there, and he says, "Oh, you can stay with me." So that's kind of how I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to go stay with Nels at last week of January, and
That'll be fun.
well, it could be. Nels is Nels, so
Yeah.
he's a great guy, but you know. So that'll be fun, and then Fort Myers, and then Coconut Grove, and then the rest is up in the air. I have to. I'm actually going to Key West. Oh, maybe you can tell me about this. I'm going to Key West to visit a friend, and the initial plan was to stay there for the 10 days or 12 days and then go back and do Gasparilla. Well, I'm not in Gasparilla. So during that time, after the weekend after Coconut Grove is the Old Island show. Do you have any experience with that? Does anybody know about that? Is it worth going down there to do?
Not current experience.
I thought it was more crafty.
I think what was the art show the beginning of January, the craft show, the end of January, the art show, the end of February. One is the end of January, one's the end of February.
No, they combined them now. They're both at the same.
See, I don't have
the
experience.
first year. So my idea was to just go down there, relax, and hang out, and go to the art fair and go, ha ha, ha, I'm not here.
Do you have a place to
Which I
stay
can
down
still
there?
do because I can pick up Bonita Springs, you know, which is the same weekend as Gasparilla, and I've never not gotten into that. So you know, I'd be surprised if I got rejected from that. So I could do that. I could do you know, I could still do the same thing except do um Bonita instead of you know, instead of
Gasparilla.
Gasparilla. The thing with Bonita was it was shockingly bad last year.
what's
It was
Bonita too? It says specifies which
that's
one
right,
of the
Bonita.
three.
Thank you, Bonita too. Right.
But wasn't last year the hurricane?
Yes.
Well, there's no guarantee that, and people said I would love to buy something. We just didn't get our money, and they were staying in the hotel. It was hard to get a hotel room because they were all filled with you know, the insurance company was paying for the hotel rooms because they hadn't doled out the money for the repairs on their houses. So it was a weird year. You know, I'll probably do that. Not talking it out. I'll probably do Benita. I'll stay for the 10 days and go back.
And then you
Plus
have to
it's
sit
gonna
down
be,
2 weeks for wait for Winter Park.
well, that's right. And then there's 2 weeks after that for Winter Park. And you know, if I don't get into Winter Park, then I'll leave right after, you know, the middle of March. you know, crawl back to, but, or I could do, I mean, there's something the weekend, I mean, there's all these shows you can do. I don't know if I want to do them, but, yeah, the best thing would be to just do the Bonita and then do Winter Park and then just have fun in between the two.
What
You know,
about the
some-
garage sale show?
Okay, I can't do the garage sale show
No.
because well, because there were people selling their pots for $5 and $10. I can't compete with that. Even $40 or $50. If I could go home and get my seconds, but I can't do that either, and I can't carry them with me, so I can't really do that.
See,
Is it-
that's the whole idea, though,
I
is that
know,
it's for seconds.
I know.
You will be missed.
You say that.
I'm
Yeah.
saying that honestly.
I appreciate that, you know.
Now, what kind of a van are you looking for?
In 2017 or newer. It doesn't matter which one. It's not the biggest one, but just a van. I want a deal. That's a problem. I want a deal. I don't want to buy a van that costs more now used than it did, 5 years ago. You
I
know.
think you're okay on that now. From what I
Well,
understand, it's that's settled back down.
I mean, well, but you look at I was looking at new ones that was 47,000 a year ago, and it's now 50, they're 57 or 58,000.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know,
ridiculous.
if you're gonna buy a new one, I might as well buy a Sprinter. Look at when a Transit is the same price as a Sprinter, we got problems, you know.
Because
Well-
Sprinter is the only company, Mercedes, the only company that told their vendors not to raise the prices. Everybody else was marking it up between 10 to 25 to 30% more.
It's ridiculous. A
Are you going to
Transit
look in
van,
Grand Rapids?
well, actually, see, that's actually where I'm going to start, where I'm going to look. That'll
Yeah,
be one of the
because
places.
if you're coming up, it seems like that'd be the perfect time as you come home.
Where I'm gonna look is Enterprise Rent a Car. And I
Yeah.
actually already looked, so I know this, they exist. Enterprise, after a couple of years, they sell their vehicles and they're low mileage and they maintain them through the whole time. So it isn't like I'm gonna buy a dog or a junker. So I could do it in one day. I could find a vehicle. I got Oscar shaking his head, So that's what I think that's what I'm gonna do.
The band that I bought came from Hertz, and this is what I heard later on. Don't buy from a regular directly for enterprise or any, because it will look fine, it will ride fine right away, but you will have unexpected expenses, like the brakes will go out before the normally you expect it, because people how they drive it. You might find that those choppers are sort of made bad because how people drive it. There's a lot of things that you're not going to find out until 6 months later on, and that's what happened to me with my van. I had to spend easily after the fact $8,000, so I was better off buying a brand new, because I had to replace the brakes like less than a year that I have it, and that's a $2,000 brake job. I had to replace the sprouts, and then they damaged something in the sprouts, and that cost me another $3,000. I had to change both headlights because there was leaking a little bit of water, because there was a pinhole in both of them that nobody can tell. So there's little things. So I would, quite honestly, if you're going to buy one, just go to the dealer and suck it up.
Well, Barry, if you give me a heads up and you want me to put feelers out here in Grand Rapids
Go for it.
before you come up,
Go for it.
but it has to be closer to the time you're actually coming.
Well, that would be 2 weeks from today, I'd be leaving. Wait, what day is today? Wednesday, Tuesday? Yeah, 2 weeks from today, I'm leaving. So that's what we're talking about. I can write a check for 30,000. I can get I can get financing for the rest. So you know, that's kind of, if it's 20 or 25,000, great. I'm saving some money. So,
Okay.
you know,
I'll put something out next week
excellent. Yeah, you have
because
connections there.
I'm in a lot of Grand Rapids groups.
Yeah, excellent. That would be phenomenal. See, to me, a lot of it is fate. It's like, and connections, and that makes so much sense to me. Knowing somebody, you know, and getting a deal, you know, through somebody, it's the way it's supposed to be, you know.
I will do my best.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Hey,
I'm going to say this before I forget. The there's a comment, people are not talking about it, but it's keep popping out again. The people not saying it, they know that when they're doing the jury process, if you have, you know, the person, and the person see your work, it's a better chance of you getting into the show, especially the person that's friend. But
No.
this,
now,
I wait, I
Okay,
just,
go on. Sorry.
I just saying
I think
to you,
he's setting up a scenario. Is that right?
yeah, I just telling you
Yeah.
what people are saying. I don't say
Okay.
it's true or not. I just telling you what's going around. This they what I was like, if you got a friend or a person to see your work before, you got a better odds to get into the show because they see your work. They're saying that they basically based on what, and this is not for Mark Grosser, just to make sure of this. The people that doing the show should not jury the show. If you get accepted because you got an award, that should be the reward to get into the show. You shouldn't be jurying the new people in. They're also saying if you're during the show, if you have a family member or in the applying to the show, you should at least not jury that person. But and don't be involved in the score from that person. Just excuse yourself from that person. And
You can't really do that because it throws off the numbers.
Yeah,
okay,
and
but
also
Right.
so wait,
Cherry
wait.
Creek. Listen, Cherry Creek
Let me
always has a
finish.
person.
Let me finish. So if you cannot do that, like you're saying, Bonnie, then the person should not be during the show. So that's saying, and my, because they're saying that no matter how impartial you are, there's always going to be some partiality, and it's all about what what people perceive of the process. And so a lot of people think that the process is screwy. There's some solution that coming out that make no sense to me, but
Well, you're just spouting Mark Grosser's
Yeah,
opinions
no, it's
on
not.
it all.
I wish it was just Mark Grosser saying that. I only got to say that. It's not just.
Well,
okay.
I will
Let
tell
me give
you
you.
from my perspective, in my
Mhm.
jurying experience of 100 shows at least that I've juried, if a friend comes up, I jury them exactly the same as anyone else, even though I have to kiss up afterwards to say, I'm sorry, it's just the numbers. You know, I can't, one juror cannot get someone in or get someone out.
Right.
That's the statistics of the whole thing. The other thing is that I can even give an example. There was a jeweler who I basically couldn't stand because she was doing other people's work. And then she comes up in the jury. What do? I juried her on that work, not on the fact that she was a pain in the ass. So she could never blame me if she didn't get in. I don't know if she got in or not,
But as a juror, couldn't you say this person is actually stealing other people's designs?
normally I would.
I
In
would.
this particular case, without proof or anything, I can't. There's only so much I can say.
Mhm.
But I've said that on a lot of people.
Listen, first of all, if you've done this a while, you know everybody. So if you're jurying, you're seeing a lot of people's work you really know. Number one. Number two, I have no problem with that because I think if you've done this for a long time, you've earned that right to get in.
No.
Yes. No. Yeah.
No.
Totally.
No.
Well, you can't
No.
listen. 100%.
That's the Microsoft mentality. Because
No.
you be doing the show for a long time, you should be entered to the show automatically. That would be like me being pissed off of the
No.
people at museum because I didn't done the show. I've done the show for the last 10 years. I stayed to the good and bad with them, and then I got rejected this year. Should I be raising hell because of that? No. That's not doesn't make it. That mentality is the one thing that pissed me off the most about anybody else. You jury in, if somebody put better work than you, and the jury decide to get the thing a better score, that's what it is. If you don't
Yep.
get into the show, you ask the director, did the jurors leave any comments for me to see what I need to improve? If they don't
Better
give you
work,
any
that's
comments,
debatable. It's different, hey, it's the same person will judge the same person on a different day differently than they did today. It's arbitrary, number one,
it doesn't. But you cannot go. But you say that if I've done the show before, I should be automatically invited. That's not right.
I didn't say automatically invited.
Well, if people, what you're saying, like basically what it sounds like, that's one of the biggest pet
No,
peeves.
you can't look at you can't help but know people and you have an opinion about their work that you see up close.
Well, so
That
you
bias exists.
You approve my point that I was saying from the beginning. If a person see your work before, it's a better chance that you getting in.
Wait a minute.
No.
Hey,
And if it's an interior decorator, they have their own opinions on what's good and what isn't. And so there's a bias there. Every jury, there's a certain bias. The reason why it's fair is that it's the same bias for everybody that's applying. So they're not favoring one person over another. It's everybody is beholden to that to that particular jury. It's totally fair. And listen,
already?
What?
huh?
Didn't we already have this exact same conversation, you guys?
Yeah,
many
yeah.
times.
It comes up all the time.
We have it all the time, and there
Yeah.
is no
The problem is there's
answer.
a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah. And
Look,
Hey,
basically what I'm saying.
Listen. I want to end the meeting. It's over 70 degrees. I want to take my dog to the park for a walk before it gets too dark.
Good
Oh,
idea.
come on.
I just came in from the porch, the screened porch. It was lovely.
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice
So-
outside.
Yeah, it
Here
was
too.
like
Okay.
yesterday morning was 33 degrees. Today it's 71.
Well,
Right.
there's a storm coming across the nation from the northern Rockies out to the plains. I don't know if it's going to make it towards you, but there
Oh, it's
may be
gonna-
a cold front coming soon.
It's going to
Yeah.
make it to me.
It
Yeah,
is.
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, tomorrow it's going to be cold and
Hey,
rainy.
we might have snow in North Carolina by the time I get there.
That's okay. They'll buy in the snow.
I know. That's the one place where they'll come out anyway. It's funny.
Have a good show, Barry.
Thank you,
Good
Bonnie.
luck, Barry.
All
Okay.
right, everybody.
Take
See you
care,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Good seeing you.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Barry, thanks for bringing your friend. Too late. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.